What's going on, good people? Excited. I'm excited. So today I'm going to go through one of my projects that I just got done creating. So this is actually a cloud encryption evidence project. And so I'm going to go through, I'm going to explain in detail what this project is, what it helps with, who it helps, how it works, tech stack, all that good stuff, and kind of going to just break it down. And hopefully I know I'm going to learn something going through. Hopefully maybe you get some value as well. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So currently right now you can see I am inside the terminal, which is where the Python script was created. Let me see if I can pull it down and we'll take a look at it here. All right, perfect. So if we look here, here's the actual source code that we're going to be pulling from and that we're going to be running. All right, so there's the actual source code. The source code, I think it was 700 and some lines. Yeah, 674. All right, so 674 lines of code. Let's just put that out the way. That's just whatever. All right, so here we go. Let's go through this. So here's the reality. Most companies cannot instantly prove their data is encrypted. Like that's a big issue. Like a lot of companies, and especially when companies are growing and then scaling, it can get, if you don't have a system that's in order, if you're not really dialed in, audits are going to be really, really tough. When you need to find information, it's going to be really, really challenging. You're going to rely on things like screenshots, spreadsheets. You're going to have to go bother a whole bunch of people. People are going to be running from you when they see you coming. And there's actually, with the technology we have nowadays, with the automation and with AI and all even the built-in tools that are right in AWS, you can really do some amazing, amazing things, save a lot of time, save a lot of energy, and save a lot of money in the process. So let's kind of walk through this. So this project solves all of that. So I built a Python tool that automatically checks AWS storage and server disk to confirm encryption is enabled and generates audit-ready evidence in seconds, meaning you can pull this information at any time, right? And I'm going to show you like why this is so powerful. So this directly supports controls required for SOC 2, which is the CC6X, which is data protection and access controls, NIST 853, data at rest. And what this means really in plain English is, think of the cloud like, because I would always get frustrated when technical people couldn't explain things practically to me. So I always like to try to just break it down. So let's first kind of just think about this whole concept. So what actually is the cloud? So think of cloud like a digital building, and then you have S3 buckets, which in S3 buckets, like I want you to think right now like an actual brick and mortar business. So you'd have your outside building, which would be your cloud. So we just took what was in the building, right? Now that's in the cloud. So you have a digital office. An S3 bucket would be like a file cabinet that you'd have inside the building, like a physical file cabinet. We just took that physical file cabinet, put it in an AWS cloud, and now it's an S3 bucket, right? Yes, volumes, that's like a computer hard drive. So just like you'd go into a normal office, you'd have computers all over the place. Those have hard drives. Instead of having a physical computer, you're literally going to AWS and you're getting it from the cloud. And then encryption would be like locking those cabinets and locking the drives, right? Keeping everything locked down. That way, the only people that have access to it are the people that need to have access to it. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Like, are these things locked down like they need to be? So this tool basically, it's like it's a digital building inspector, right? So we created code that's going to go out and it's going to find all of these things for us, and it's going to do it in a matter of like seconds, as opposed to us having to physically go out, get that information inside of it, get that information from somebody else. It's just a mess, right? You don't have to do that. There's easier ways to do things nowadays, right? So it connects to AWS. And then it's going to check, make sure the encryption settings are the way they need to. And then it's going to create a report that can be sent to leadership. It can be sent to auditors, whoever needs to see that report, right? So why this helps the business, right? So because it's just not about technology for the sake of having technology. Like technology is really, really cool, but the whole point of like what we're doing, it's to help the business move forward. It's to help the business bring in more money. It's to help the business save money. Like that's really why we're doing it. It's just not to say a whole bunch of cool big words. That's not what it's for. So it's going to help the company. It's going to save on audit preparation time, right? It's going to reduce human error. Like you can have the best humans in the world. We just make errors. The good thing about computers, it's ones and zeros, and they're really, really good at retrieving data. Like computers, AI is really, really, really good at going out and consuming a lot of data, looking at a lot of telemetry, and bringing back data, right? Lower security risk. So again, if we're keeping everything locked down, we're constantly monitoring everything as opposed to maybe looking at something every quarter or even once a year, right? We don't have to do that. We can run reports daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the company needs, we can do that, right? Reduce third-party compliance tool controls. So what can happen a lot of times is there's other third-party software that you can do, but those type of things cost money. So if you can build the infrastructure, if you can build the tools in-house, you can save all that money, which again, that's the whole point, to either make the business more money or save the business money, and then again, mediate risk, right? And then make compliance continuous instead of once a year, which again, I just explained. So who else in the organization benefits from this? Because it's not just the GRC engineer that's going to benefit from this. Security teams benefit from this. They spend less time checking settings manually and more time focusing on actual real threats that are out there. Compliance and audit teams, because they're going to get structured, time-stamped, actual evidence that they can use instead of chasing down screenshots and and that kind of stuff. DevOps engineers, so they're going to, again, now they're receiving clear remediation guidance instead of like vague compliant tickets. Maybe they get a vague JIRA ticket. And again, you'll see that actual information, like what that looks like. Engineering teams, if integrated into CDI or CD, later it prevents insecure infrastructure from being deployed. CI being continuous integration, CD being continuous delivery, which is just a company's way to automatically build, deploy software safely and quickly. That's all that means, right? So finance and leadership, so it's going to reduce audit prep costs, reduces compliance tools, licensing costs, lowers breach risk, again, saving the company money. And then when you're saving them money, again, now you can take those assets, you can take those extra funds you have, and you can deploy those into other things that can, again, continue to scale the business. So it's a win-win-win. And it's like a compound effect that starts to happen. Like this is why I get so excited, because like I like being part of like winning teams, and it's like you're helping everybody win. So operations teams, less audit seasons, and again that's stressful. Reality is most people do not function well when they're stressed. So if it is audit time and you got people stressing over the audit, you're pulling people from the jobs that they normally do. Which, just take an engineer for instance. Like engineers get paid a lot of money, and they're not getting paid a lot of money to help out with audits and go get screenshots. That's not what they're getting paid for. So when you put together like a quality system and structure everything right, they can then spend that time doing things that they're actually supposed to be doing and what they're being paid for. So what you're going to see in the demo, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's just kind of run the demo here. Let's see. Yeah, let me just run it. Bum, bum, bum. All right, so we're going to run the script. Easy, simple script we're going to run. Oh, well, maybe. It would definitely help if I ran the right script. All right, let's try this one more game. All right, script is ran. So as we can see, the script is running. So basically what this did was, so you can see start encryption at rest compliance, use default AWS credentials. So the credentials were already put in earlier. So now it's going to go out, connect via API keys. And then you can see right here, connected to AWS. There's the account. retrieving S3 buckets, analyzing S3. And again, you've seen this was like done in seconds. Like it takes me longer to read the evidence than it took for it to pull it. So it pulled all the information. So from information from the S3 buckets, EBS, and then the KMS, right? So if we look here, here's the cool thing. So it also pulled a JSON report. It also wrote CSV report. And let's kind of take a look at those real quick. So if we look here. So here we got the JSON report. So this is all the information just computer readable. So if we needed to send this to like Jira, whoever needed this, right? So we could basically do remediation with this, where it's done automatically. Later on, we can do it in tool. AWS has tools for that. There's a lot of different things you can do with this. But again, it's documented evidence. But then we also have the human readable version of the same thing, which is a CSV file. So again, a breakdown of everything that was pulled. But like, here's where I want to let me really show you why this is such a cool thing. And look, I get it. I know there's other ways you can do this inside of AWS, but I wanted to work on my Python skills. And then also, well, I'll tell you in a little bit why. So so we pulled from the S3 bucket, the EBS and the KMS. All right. So this took a matter of seconds. I want to show you something. We're just going to go in here and we're just going to go to an S3 bucket. This is like the benefit of doing things in a command line. In order to get to the S3 bucket, I have to click, right? So I'm clicking, that's one. Got to wait for it to load. So once I click in here, then I got to pick the bucket. Let's just pick the random bucket. All right, so now I'm inside the bucket. Once I'm inside the bucket, then I got to do another click. Now I go to properties. Then I got to go down to default. Where's the encryptions? Oh, right here. Why am I not seeing it? Default decryptions. And then we see here the encryption type that we have. Okay, so it'd be like, okay, this one's good. Now I'd have to go to the next one and then the next one. Well, imagine if you had 30 buckets, 40 buckets, 100 buckets, 1,000 buckets, right? And that's just S3 buckets. That's not counting all the EBSs you could have. That's not counting if you're in a different region. Like this is in West East 1. What if you had other regions? What if you had Ireland in here? What if you had Singapore in here? You can start to see how things could add up, and it sucks up so much time. So that's kind of why it's just why I get so excited about this kind of stuff. So anyways, let's kind of go back to this. So how it works behind the scenes. So basically what this does right here, it uses Bo2.3, which is basically Python's way to communicate with AWS. Instead of clicking through everything like I just showed you, it's going to ask, it reaches out to AWS and says, hey, looks for the storage resources. Are those good? Okay, those are good, which is S3 buckets. Then it's going to go and check on encryption settings. Then it's going to go and generate compliance evidence, the CSV files, the JSON files. And again, all of that happens literally in a matter of seconds, right? Like why someone wouldn't use this, I really don't know, but that's another story. So what the demo shows, you're going to see logs that show you got connected to AWS, which you see here, found storage resources, checked encryption status, generating compliance evidence. So it gives you everything you need. So why I built this instead of using native AWS tools? Well, because they have tools. You could use AWS Config, Security Hub, Trusted Advisor. And those are all great tools, and we do use those, but I built this for a couple reasons. So number one, just to get used to using API keys, right? It's always good practice that. Customize evidence output for audits. All of this can be customized to however you needs to be custom, right? It's super simple, right? Avoid additional licensing costs, right? So it's avoiding licensing costs. And again, it's all about like saving money. Whenever you can save money, that's usually a good thing and it makes people happy. Improves my Python. I am not a coder. So the more I get in here and play around with it and just create stuff, it just makes me better. Just like anything, the more you do something, the better you get. Also, current scope or the current state. So right now, this is detection and then evidence generation. However, you could add remediation to this. You could add multi-region scanning. So again, like I was showing you here, when I say multi-region scanning, you could literally, let's say you were in the United States, but you also had an office in Ireland, right? So you could customize, right? You could customize your Python script. So this, you would just go here and then customize this to do whatever you wanted to do. Whatever your little heart desires, you could do. So that's multi-region scanning. You could also build this in where this information, so this here, you could set it up very easy where what it would do is send either this actual CSV file, you could send that straight into Slack, or you could hook AI up to it and have AI summarize this. So it's, I mean, this is pretty easily digestible, but it's still like, you know, some people might see this and be like, what is this, right? So you could just, you could put it in easier way to read, maybe for upper management, that they you know, they don't have time to be trying to figure out what this is. They just want to know, what is this and why is it important to me? Yeah. So kind of in summary, so what does this does? So if I had to sum this all up and I was just talking leadership, like what did we do? So it improved, we can continuously model encryption at any time, reduced audit workload, lower operational stress, which again, most humans, we don't operate good in stress. So if you got a whole bunch of people stressed running around for an audit, it's just not a good thing. Reduce compliance tooling, catch misconfigurations. So yeah, again, hopefully you guys got some value out of that. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.